On December 25, 2025, while the world celebrated, 16 streaks of fire were cutting through the night sky over the Gulf of Guinea. They weren't planes. They weren't drones. They were BGM-109 Tomahawk cruise missiles, launched from the vertical cells of a U.S. Navy destroyer positioned hundreds of miles offshore. The headlines reported multiple terrorists killed in the remote Bounty Forest of Sokoto, Nigeria. But those headlines only scratch the surface. They are giving you the numbers, but they aren't giving you the full scope of the devastation. In the world of precision warfare, the true body count isn't just measured in the number of people found in the rubble. It is measured in the total systemic collapse of an entire network's ability to function. If you think this strike was just about a few buildings, you are missing the most lethal part of the operation. Today, we are going deep into the machine, the physics, and the operational fallout to show you why this strike killed more terrorists than any official report will ever admit. Before we dive into the secret mechanics of this weapon, make sure you hit that subscribe button and ring the bell. We are uncovering the tech that the mainstream media ignores, and you won't want to miss our next deep dive into the future of global conflict. To understand the impact, you first have to understand the weapon. The Tomahawk is not a missile in the traditional sense. It is a self-flying kamikaze jet. It starts with a solid fuel booster rocket that slams the 2-ton missile out of its tube with enough force to clear a battleship's deck and reach flight altitude in seconds. Once it clears the ship, the wings deploy, the booster drops away, and the real power kicks in, the Williams International turbofan engine. This is a miniature jet engine. Unlike ballistic missiles that scream into space and fall back down at high speeds, the Tomahawk stays subsonic, cruising at roughly 550 miles per hour. This speed is intentional. Speed isn't the goal. Stealth and endurance are. This jet engine allows the Tomahawk to fly for over 1,000 miles. It can loiter. It can wait. It can fly around a mountain range or follow the curve of a riverbed just 30 to 50 meters off the ground to stay under enemy radar. It is a predator that takes its time. If you're finding this technical breakdown helpful, share this video right now. The more people understand the actual tech being used in our skies, the more we can have a real conversation about security. But how does a missile find a single mud brick compound in the middle of a dense Nigerian forest after flying for 2 hours? It doesn't use just one map, it uses 3. First, there is TERCOM, or terrain contour matching. Imagine a person navigating a pitch-black room by feeling the height of the furniture. The Tomahawk carries a 3D digital map of the Earth's surface in its memory. As it flies over Nigeria, its radar altimeter feels the ground below. It compares the height of the hills and the depth of the valleys to its internal map. If it's even a few feet off course, the onboard computer adjusts its fins in milliseconds. Next is DSMAC, Digital Scene Matching Area Correlation. This is the missile's eye. As it nears the target area, an onboard camera takes high-resolution photos of the ground. It compares these photos to high-definition satellite imagery. Even if the landscape has changed, if the wind moved a truck, or if the enemy tried to use camouflage, the missile's AI filters out the noise to find the exact target. Finally, even if GPS satellites are jammed, internal gyroscopes and accelerometers track every tilt and turn, keeping it on a path so precise that it can fly through a specific door from hundreds of miles away. Why was this technology deployed in Sokoto? The target was the Lakurawa. Linked to the ISIS Sahel province, this group had become a nightmare for the region between Nigeria, Niger, and Mali. They utilized the dense Bounty Forest as a shadow zone, a place where traditional ground troops couldn't easily reach. They thought they were safe because they were deep in the bush, away from the prying eyes of authorities, but they forgot about the horizon. The Christmas Day strike was a decapitation move. By targeting these specific enclaves, the US was hitting the safe havens, where foreign fighters were staging for a massive push into Nigeria's interior. The strike killed far more than the people in the room. It caused a total logistic death. When a 1,000-pound joint multi-effects warhead hits a command center, the explosion is designed to penetrate concrete and earth before detonating. It doesn't just blow up the walls, it creates a high-pressure shockwave that destroys electronics instantly. In that 1 second, years of intelligence were vaporized. Financial ledgers, encrypted communication devices, and hard drives containing the group's entire operational history were turned to ash. Without this connective tissue, every surviving fighter in the field is suddenly cut off. They have no money, no orders, and no way to coordinate. They are operationally dead even if they are still breathing because their heart, the command center, has been stopped. Furthermore, consider the prestige tax. Modern terrorism relies on the myth of invincibility to recruit. They tell recruits that they are protected by the terrain and that no one can reach them. But when a tomahawk reaches into the deepest forest with surgical precision, that myth is completely shattered. Potential recruits see a group that cannot even protect its own commanders in their most secret hideouts. The recruitment pipelines dry up. The strike doesn't just kill the terrorist of today, it kills the motivation of the terrorist of tomorrow. It creates a vacuum where leadership once stood, leaving the remaining cells fractured, isolated, and unable to regroup. This strike also introduces a terrifying level of systematic confusion. When an organization's head is removed so cleanly, the remaining members are left with a fundamental question: how? This creates an atmosphere of total uncertainty. They realize that their most secure locations are actually the most vulnerable. They begin to realize that the ground they stand on is being watched by eyes they cannot see, and they are being hunted by machines that do not tire. This realization leads to a total loss of morale. Fighters who once felt bold now feel exposed. They stop looking for targets and start looking for holes to hide in. But as this strike proved, there are no holes deep enough. Every move a surviving member makes now feels like a mistake. Every radio they turn on, every road they travel, and every meeting they attempt to hold is shrouded in the fear that another streak of fire is already on its way. This is systematic paralysis. The enemy isn't just defeated, they are demoralized to the point where the group's very identity begins to dissolve. They are no longer a cohesive force. They are scattered individuals waiting for an inevitable end. The Tomahawk strike in Nigeria wasn't just a military operation, it was a surgical removal of a future threat. We count the smoke plumes, but we should be counting the attacks that will never happen. We should be counting the villages that won't be raided because the logistical heart of the Lakurawa was ripped out on a Christmas night. In the age of the Tomahawk, the blast is only the beginning. The real victory isn't the fire, it's the absolute silence that follows. When the network stops talking, and when the leaders are gone, that is when you know the strike truly hit its target. If you want to understand the true story of global security, you have to look past the headlines and into the technology. Drop a comment below if you think these precision strikes are the key to ending modern insurgency. Let's get a discussion going. And if you want more content like this, check out our other videos on the weapons that are changing the world. Don't forget to subscribe. The more we understand the tools of security, the better we understand the path to peace.